Just saying, she's pretty suspicious. Just happened the captain's not expending the time right as we're like getting closer to stuff. Just makes me think. Makes me think not everything's up and up. 12 a.m. or no, March 12th, 1 p.m. Local airport. I know that once we landed, I'm supposed to let the local police take over. And thanks to Miss Teniero and Miss Melee, I was able to preserve the crime scene. But I just can't shake it. I wasn't able to talk with Miss Teniero in private. So I'm left wondering what she was up to. Why did she do what she did? There must be a way for me to continue my investigation. I've been expecting you, Mr. Edgeworth. Miles Edgeworth. Ah. Franziska, I thought you were still in Germany. I go where I'm needed. And wherever there are criminals to be caught. Her name is Franziska von Karma. The daughter of my mentor, Manfred von Karma. She, like myself, is a prosecutor. Are you headed up this case? It would be a bit of a relief if you were. Don't try to flatter me, Miles Edgeworth. I'm placing you under arrest. What? It's quite frustrating, actually. I'd hoped to exact my revenge on you in a different venue. But I'll have to take what I can get. I never thought I'd see the day when you, disciple of the House of Von Karma, would become a criminal. Have you no shame? Wait, there's been a big misunderstanding. I didn't kill the victim. Misunderstanding? I heard all about the murder over the police radio from the captain myself. You waited for the victim on the first floor and then beat him to death. Franziska, do you honestly believe that I killed a man? Fuck you. I suppose I should reserve judgment until after I've investigated this for myself. I can put your arrest on hold until then. That's as it should be. Ha! I don't need a lecture on how to perform my duties from you of all people. To be perfect in every way, the fulfillment of that creed alone is all I strive for. Well, I have my own creed, which I must fulfill, so why don't we solve this together? I have to get going. The crime scene awaits. Don't you dare leave town. Trust me, I had no intention to. Detective Gumshoe. Yes, sir. Too slow. Ow. Listen up, I'm leaving you in charge of watching this man. Don't mess up, understand? Mr. Edgeworth? I'm supposed to guard him? A simple yes or no, detective. Yes, sir. Understood, sir. You just leave it to me. Miles Edgeworth, if you were to interfere with my investigation, I'll arrest you on the spot. Are we clear? Now then, if you'll excuse me. Good to see you again, Mr. Edgeworth, sir. Boy, am I glad to see you're okay. Thank you, detective. I believe in you, sir. You can lean on me. I'll get you through this. I have to admit, I'm a bit curious as to what Franziska is up to. Maybe I should ask about the good detective. Well then, very well. In that case, I have a few questions for you. I hate fucking Gumshoe. Please, God, no. Let's not talk to Gumshoe. Lunchland. Not bad. I guess it's gotten big enough to warrant its own branch shops. What should I go with? I recommend our airport special. World Flags lunchboxes. Only available for a limited time. We have a variety of lunchboxes made up to look like different countries' flags. I wonder if they're aiming to take Lunchland to the international market. I will take it. This man was in first class with me. He was quite shaken up by the whole affair. I did it. I made it the whole flight. I'm not scared of turbulence anymore. He must have been pretty scared. He's repeating the same thing over and over to himself. I had to talk to fucking Gumshoe. So how's the initial investigation going? We just shipped the body off to the coroner's office. We're taking statements now, sir. That sounds like Franziska. She was always quick at responses to a case. I'd say she was a little too quick, sir. Oh, how so? I rushed over here as soon as I got the word of the affair, sir. Fuck. But somehow, when I got here, Ms. Von Karma was already here barking out orders at everyone. It was kind of creepy, as though she knew there had been a murder or something, and had come in advance to await your flight's arrival. That is sort of odd. She did show up rather quickly and out of the blue. They did say they called ahead, though. Plus, I still don't know why she's in America. There must be some backstory to all of this. Miss Von Karma just kind of popped up at the prosecutor's office a week ago, sir. Something about chasing down leads relating to a certain incident. No details. It's kind of top secret, so she can't talk about it, even with me, sir. Knowing her, the only type of talking she likes to do is with her whip. Plus, I doubt the top secret part was what stopped her from talking to you, Detective. Although I wonder if her case has anything to do with mine. Anyway, that's about it. All the info I have, sir. We should find out more as we investigate. Yes, it is high time to investigate. Starting with talking to the people involved in this travel affair, in this case. Don't mind me, coming through. Hey, is that the captain? So you must be the captain. Why, yes I am, and who might you be? I'm the prodigy prosecutor, Franziska Von Karma, and I have a few questions for you. Don't you dare, Captain. Getting friendly with another woman. I'll never forgive you if you do. What are you talking about? I only have eyes for you, my dear Gammy. I wouldn't bet money on our dear Captain to be much of a reputable person. You're sure you don't want to ask Captain some questions, sir? He was in the cockpit the entire time. I highly doubt that he would know anything of use. Anyway, I'd like to leave that type of witness to Franziska and her whip. I'd rather talk to Cammy! Cammy! Ah! Cammy! She's cute! Oh, fuck. Now, see here! Ah! Sorry, I'm sorry. How long do you intend to hold me? It is impossible for you to be the criminal, I told you. For me to be the criminal. Mr. LeBlanc. Oh, it's you. Tell this man to stop stopping me from going. Time is money. I don't have even 1 second of wasteful time to spend. Fucking this dude. Did you finish taking his statement yet? Yep, all done, sir. I do not concern if you're not done examining the cargo hold. I want my cargo back. If you make a single scratch on my art, you would pay. Art? What sort of art? Mr. LeBlanc is an art dealer, so he's got a bunch of artwork down the cargo hold, sir. There's practically a mountain of them, large and small. From folk costumes to stone statues, I sell all kinds of arts. Folk costumes. Speaking of which, Mr. LeBlanc's hat. It kind of looks like that other piece of cloth. Now that would be something else. I wish. Mr. LeBlanc, can you please take a look at this for me? Oh, it's a Borginian cloth. As I suspected, your hat is made of the same material, I suppose? Yes, of course. This fabric is so famous. Orders come from all over the seas for more. Interesting. And this is the cargo you were talking about earlier? No. My cargo this time is gigantic. You, detective, when can I have my cargo moved? You can get your cargo back when we're done investigating, pal. The stubbornness of you police, it is no good. It is no good that attendant refuses to exit the attendant's room too. That attendant? I wonder if he's talking about Miss Teniero. Miss fucking Teniero. What do you mean by that, attendant, Mr. LeBlanc? She was taken into the attendant room for her interview, and then they say they still have not come out. They make no sign of coming out either. I was finished with my own interview much earlier, quicker than her. Why is Miss Teniero's interview the only one that's taking up so much time? Because she has the key to the thingy. Miles Edgeworth, you were given free rein to examine the plane, weren't you? Yes, I was able to obtain the cooperation of the flight attendants. Speaking of attendants, I'd like to speak with Miss Teniero. I wonder if you might grant me permission to enter the flight attendant's room. Before I do, you still have to clear up a few issues surrounding your own circumstances. I understand. You may have tricked those attendants with your sophisticated talking, but you can't pull the wool over my eyes, Miles Edgeworth. Fuck. Let's not complicate things, and go with the most obvious conclusion. The scene of the crime was here in the very lounge the body was discovered. From the time the victim was seen calling for an attendant until his body was found. The only person in this lounge the entire time was you, Miss Miles Edgeworth. This unmistakably makes you the likeliest suspect. The likeliest suspect, Francisco. Do you have a problem with that? No, but it's not like you to use such vague wording. You're usually a bit more absolute. I'm simply trying to watch out for you. Or is my kindness too hard for you to comprehend? Thank you, but your leniency is unnecessary, for I will prove my innocence soon enough. If I want to continue my investigation, I'll have to break your line of logic fast. Francisco's logic. I might press her on that. So tell me, Francisca, do you know all there is to know about the crime scene? I know all that I need to know in order to arrest you. And nothing more? Are you saying there's more I need to know? Ah, why'd you whip me, sir? Sorry, Scruffy, my hand must have slipped. It appears that Francisca doesn't have all the facts of the kiss yet. Okay, okay, so let's try it. Objection! Here you go, sweetheart. It would appear that you did not have all the information you needed after all. And what does that mean? I found a nice piece of evidence just before I was forced to stop investigating. A piece that proves that the body was moved from a different location. The killer used this suitcase to move the victim's body, meaning that the real scene of the crime is not this lounge at all. Objection! Now who's the one rashly jumping to conclusions? Excuse me. All you did was find this piece of cloth inside the suitcase. That doesn't prove that the body was moved. It could have been the killer simply chose that suitcase as a good place to hide the cloth. I expected you would come to that conclusion. It would seem I can't escape that easily. You should know better than that. Von Karma is perfect in every way. But did you know that the killer definitely wheeled the suitcase around at some point? Objection! As if there's proof of that. There actually is. There's two things of proof. Fuck. Well, the fucking thing over here, like, it was proven, like, because there's, like, actual blood on the wheel. But it could have been, like, oh, blood dripped on it. And this, fuck it, that one. I spilled grape juice in front of the elevator. Yes, and I'd like to draw your attention to this area here. Where's the evidence that proves the killer dragged the suitcase through here? You know, honest to God, I did not notice these things until I looked at this again. I was only focusing on the big fucking prints. This here, wouldn't you say that it looks a little suspicious? Like tracks from two wheels? I suppose. Further, there is also grape juice residue on the wheels of the suitcase. This means that the suitcase containing the victim's body definitely passed through here. I suppose this means that the killer did move the victim's body from somewhere else. I'm glad you've come to your senses. Objection! Not so fast. This still doesn't put you in the clear, not by a long shot. Come on, sweetheart. Calm it down. I'm not right. You prepared yourself and acquired the piggy bank before the plane hit that turbulence. And then you waited for the victim in the lounge where you beat him to death. And while you were in the elevator with the victim's body stuffed in the suitcase, the plane hit that patch of turbulence and out flew the body from the suitcase. With no way out, you hastily put the suitcase back where you had taken it from, and pretended to be the discoverer of the body. That is that's some fucking logic leaps. Not a bad bit of logic for something you thought of on the fly. Just what are you insinuating? That'll show you exactly how flawed your logic is. No matter how strong on the face you put it on it, not even you can hide your fears from me. I'll expose the flaws in her logic in one fell swoop. I mean, no one fucking saw her. Saw me kill her. Kill him. Yeah, it was, Here you go. It's so hard. That was quick. The fact that you took this piece of evidence into account in your testimony is to be commended. Your legal prowess is certainly something to be feared. Evidence and logic. Essential tools that those who would stand in a courtroom must learn to master. But what if there was a fake piece of evidence thrown into the mix? A fake? This Mr. I-Fly piggy bank is not just a fake, it is not the real murder weapon. What? The timing of when the bank was taken from the shop is important, and it was taken after the turbulence had occurred. But then what about the blood on the bank? What do you make of that? I assume it was added after the murder when the killer fabricated this weapon. Looking at it this way, the killer basically did 3 things after the turbulence. After exiting the elevator, the killer brought the suitcase to the shop and left it there. Then the killer proceeded to pick the bank up from off the floor and took it to fabricate a fake murder weapon by hitting the victim on the head. Finally, the victim's wallet was planted on my personage in my pocket to be precise. Everything was done so that I would be framed for the murder of Mr. Ackby Hicks. You there? Yes, ma'am. Other than this piggy bank, was anything else resembling a murder weapon found? We didn't find anything in this launcher in the shop that could be used as one, ma'am. Most of the items that could have been used were broken during the turbulence. And the remaining items all tested negative for any trace of blood. I see. Well, Miles Edgeworth, it appears your stall tactics are at an end. It's possible that there isn't something hidden somewhere, sir. It's just hidden somewhere, sir. Nah. If the criminal had wanted to hide the weapon in a safer place, I think that weapon would have been hidden in the same place as the bloody cloth. Exactly I was thinking. Because the cloth was hidden inside that suitcase, it signals to me that the killer had not prepared a more secure place to hide the evidence. Which means that the real murder weapon is either still on the murderer's personage, or is still at the real crime scene. There's one more possibility, and that would be that the piggy bank is in fact the real weapon. But didn't we just... Let me finish. The killer took the bank out from the display before the turbulence by opening the lock on the display case door. Killed him, put it back, but then it fell out. And it was at that time that the glass pane in the door was broken. I'd say that's perfectly reasonable line of reasoning, wouldn't you? Let's see. So that means that the killer had the key to the display case. Francisco, the person you're talking about. Not so fast, I'm not finished. The person I'm talking about also committed another sin. She tricked the captain and granted you permission to conduct your investigation. Yes, it is a sin of lying. Speaking of which, I recall that you wished to speak with her. Yes. Very well, permission granted, but only if I sit in on in your interrogation. Do we understand each other? That's not that bad. I have no intention of interrogating her, but you are welcome to accompany me if you wish. Miss Tianero is in the flight attendant's room. Let's move. Well, fucking let's go. Fuck. Whatever. I actually wanted to try to talk to Miss Melee over here. Hey, sweetheart. If I may have a word with you, Miss Melee. No, you may not have a word with me. I want to assure you that the lady is a fellow prosecutor. Her name is Francisca von Carmen. I don't care who she is. She's talking with Mon Capitan. Since Melee is the type who considers every other woman to be a threat. Hot. Give me. Give me. So you're the one that poked around inside the plane without the captain's permission. Deviating from this flight attendant's manual is very unbecoming of you. What were you hoping to accomplish by doing that? Miss Teniero? Oh, Mr. Edgeworth, you're here too? Can you please help us? Shed some light on why you did what you did. Alright. Let me check everything. There's sure to be a clue in some sort of this trash can. Detective, if you can please. Yes, sir. If you leave the rummaging to me. Scruffy, how dare you go through a woman's trash without her permission? Have you no sense of honor? I'm sorry. I'm just doing what Mr. Edgeworth told me to do. Ow. Forgive me, Detective. Captain's permission. Why did you lie about receiving the captain's permission like that? Because I didn't think I would be able to get his permission. What do you mean? The captain, he only has ears for Cammy. Epic? I spoke with the captain a little earlier myself. He definitely seems to be rather taken with Miss Melee. Yes, and on top of that, I had mistakenly accused Mr. Edgeworth of being the killer. I wanted to make amends. In that case, please allow me to thank you for what you did. Thanks to you, I was able to clear myself of all charges. Really? You were able to prove your innocence? Oh, thank goodness. Miss Teniero, is it? There's one more thing I'd like to ask you. You were in the flight shop just before the turbulence, weren't you? Please answer me honestly. Yes, I was. And why were you there? Well, Why the sudden hesitation? Francisco seems to have struck a nerve. All I did was go check up on the shop like I always do. You're saying it was for work then? Yes. I'm in charge of the shop, so I have to keep an eye on it. I don't have any reason to go there otherwise. After you visited the shop, you paid a visit to this room, correct? Yes, I came back to freshen up and adjust my makeup. I'm sorry, but there isn't much else to tell. Miss Teniero claims to have no reason other than the duty to go to the shop. Is that all there is to it? Maybe I should ask her about that thing. Hey, you want to talk about this suitcase? If you could please take a look at this for me, Miss Teniero. Oh, that suitcase. Yes, about this suitcase. You're the one who designed it, correct? I think I figured something else about it. The suitcase is the reason you went to the shop, isn't it? There's nothing you won't find out eventually, is there? Won't you please tell me more about this suitcase? Yes, I was interested in seeing how the suitcases I had designed were selling. I know that as a service professional, I'm not supposed to care. But I really wanted to know. I was glad to see that it was the last one there. The last one there. Last one there. So you're saying, Miss Teniero, that the suitcase in question was the last one? Yes, they're just so popular, they're practically flying off the shelves. It's not exactly the impression I got. The one in the shop is most definitely the last one. Well, we're currently looking at that suitcase. Really? I guess we sold all of them. Thank you very much for taking the last one. I didn't say anything about buying it. Then say you'll buy it. I'm sorry, I can't. But why? I think it will look great with your complexion, Mr. Edgeworth. It really suits you. I guarantee it personally as a service professional. Well, that is, how should I put it this? It's hideous. What? Maybe that was a bit too direct. Moving on. My issue with the suitcase isn't the design, it's the number of them remaining. Remaining? There were 2 suitcases in the in-flight shop when I investigated it. 2? But that's impossible. I'm sure there's only 1. Looks like her story has generated quite the contradiction. When I left the shop, I'm positive there was only 1 suitcase left. Something is amiss here. What could be the meaning of this inconsistency? By the way, Miss Teniero, what's the one of the suitcases doing in here? She fucking bought her own. I thought you said there was only 1 left. That one is, it's mine. I've used it for a very long time now. She's used it for a long time. I think not. Miss Tenniero, I'd appreciate it if you wouldn't lie to me. Excuse me? I wouldn't believe for even 1 second that you've used this for a very long time. The price tag.
Take that!
Tell me, Miss Tenniero, is it a habit to keep the price tag pristine on your suitcase? What is the meaning of this? Why would you lie about a suitcase? Because she wants to make it sell well, so, like, you know, fucking shit like that. So she doesn't feel like she wasted it. Despite having faith in her design sense, the sales numbers made her cry bitter tears. The truth is becoming increasingly clear to me. Miss Tenniero, I think I understand. I know what you were trying to hide. Now then, the suitcase was originally in. Seeing as how the price tag is still on the suitcase, one can only assume it was one of the floor for sale in the shop. And the person who bought the suitcase was... herself.
Take that!
It was you, wasn't it, Miss Tenniero? I hate to say this, but the suitcase that you designed, it hasn't sold very well, has it? You saw how poorly this design that you poured your heart into was selling, and you were deeply hurt. That's why you wanted to make it look like you were selling by buying it yourself. Isn't that right? Then the reason you went to the shop and came back here was... I'm sorry. All I really have is my job. I was overjoyed when my design was chosen. I thought that maybe I'd finally accomplished something. But the suitcases didn't sell. It's because of the design, isn't it? All because it's, as you put it, hideous. I can't say they chose a great place in which to sell them, either. We weren't selling a single one, that they were just sitting there collecting dust. I felt so bad seeing them there, day in and day out. So I decided to buy one for every flight I worked. Oh my god. You buy one every single time you work a flight? I see, so in order to keep your resolution, you went and bought one today as well. Yes, and here's my receipt for that purchase. How can you afford it? This receipt is clearly timestamped 5:40 a.m. The truth is, there's still a bunch of them left unsold. They're planning to scrap the remaining ones at the end of this flight. Miss Tenniero, where are those other suitcases? They should all be down in the cargo hold. And the suitcase the killer used could very well have come from the cargo hold. Mr. Edgeworth, you don't think that killer used one of my suitcases, do? Yes, I do. The killer used one of your beloved suitcases to move the victim's body. How could they? Those suitcases were meant to be faithful partners to our passengers on their trips. That's all I ever wished them to be. Miss Tenniero, is there any other way to get a hold of the cargo hold other than the elevator? The only other way is just through the door there. What about security? The door has no special lock installed because... just to enter this room, you need a special keycard that only crew members have access to. Which means that the culprit is someone who can enter this room, eliminating the passengers and leaving only crew members as potential suspects. Can we get a log? I can't believe it. Yes, Francisco. Going on these wild goose chases, you're a disgrace to the Von Karma name. What do you mean by that? The suitcase frame came from the cargo hold. That fact alone tells the whole story. Yes, which is why I said the culprit must be a crew member who used their keycard. Miles Edgeworth! You're proposing that the killer rode the elevator from the cargo hold, correct? Yes, that's the only realistic possibility. That other attendant, Miss Melee. I asked her earlier and she's had this to say. Francisca got information out of Miss Melee. In order to make the elevator go down to the cargo hold, a different keycard is required. A different one. Yeah, but you can use this door. Yes, and the only person who holds that particular key card is you, Miss Rhoda Tenniero. And only you. Ah! What? Is this true, Miss Tenniero? Yes, I keep that key card in my locker at all times. Could you please show us that card right now? Yes, hold on. I don't believe it. What's wrong? That keycard, it's gone. Very clever. Pretending that your card was stolen when in fact you're just trying to hide it from us. You really thought this through. Wait, it's not like that. You can tell us all about that, what it's like down at the station. Officer, arrest this woman. Yes, ma'am. Mr. Edgeworth. I had to fucking save her. What's wrong? There's disbelief written all over your face. Francisco, I know that you are the lead investigator on this case. However, hold it. Don't even think about wasting any more of my time. You know the rules as well as I do. Evidence speaks louder than words. Even if this isn't a courtroom, that basic tenet still applies. I intend to investigate the cargo hold now. What will you do, Miles Edgeworth? I intend to do likewise. Might as well. To be continued. The only thing I can do, investigate.